Breaking news! Donald Trump has named Steve Bannon as chief strategist in the White House, further proving the theory that once you go racist bigot, you never go back. But let's give him a chance. Theme song is, oh, three more, three more, three more, boop, 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 three more words, yeah, yeah. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Breaking news! Donald Trump has named Steve Bannon as the new chief strategist in the White House, further proving that once you go racist bigot, you never go back. Let's give him a chance, guys. We have a new theme song this week. Again, self-produced. It's 3 words. 3 words. Do, 3 words. Do. Yeah, yeah. All right. Sorry about that. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to 3 More Words. This is the second episode entitled Cabinet of Deplorables. I'm your host, Eric Shepard, and I want to thank everyone who watched the first episode, the debut episode, and who are watching right this minute, right now, in real time, like you, Jonathan Thomas Taylor of 23110 Millsbury Circle Lane, Alaska. Better finish your homework, Jonathan. Okay? Your mom told you twice. Anyway, quick scheduling note. I know I mentioned online to like 4 people that the new show would be posted on Thursdays. That's a terrible idea with my schedule and just life. So Saturday it is, Saturdays. And if you're new to the show, I'll tell you right now, each week I take 3 words that I defined the week prior and expand upon them in a sometimes funny way. Not like in a, laugh out loud funny, but like in a polite chuckle to yourself when your boss says something kind of clever. So you're like, but you also want to play it up. Point is, so before we get into the nuanced politics and me yelling at you for a few minutes, which I promise we'll get to, let's start off with a word that brings smiles to us all. Rock. Huh? Okay, so the first word is rock, and no, I'm not talking about America hitting rock bottom, hooking up with that weird orange guy and finding out that you're pregnant with his kid and it's going to last like 4 years, and it's not that good, and that's not that rock bottom. We're talking about this rock bottom. Bam! That's Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. This is a Pez dispenser I'm going to eat. The former professional wrestling star. He's a mega star, and he just was named this year's highest paid actor of 2016, according to Forbes. And now he's another accolade to add to his list. People's sexiest man alive. That was good strawberry. People's champion took to Twitter to celebrate his accolade. Here we go. Still up at 4 a.m. training hard and taking care of my babies sexily. The Rock trains at like 4 a.m. for real. He thanked the people and grateful for the love, but the dude is like always up. It's not normal. Now, many of you know that I'm an avid wrestling fan, so I feel like me and The Rock are boys on some level. Also, I saw the Scorpion King in theaters, so like some of that success is mine. 75%. Most importantly, let me list you the men he beat out, okay? Prince Harry, Keegan-Michael Key, Drake, okay? Rami Malek, and Nick Jonas, among others. There is some controversy, though, this is why I'm covering it. Many who supported Grover Cleveland for the nomination were upset. Now, even if he's not technically alive anymore, or as mainstream media would report it, some say he's alive, some say he's dead, 50-50. But let's now turn to a man who can clarify, get it, whether someone is alive or not. Talking about the second word, clarify, and Dr. Ben Carson, who made his name working at the esteemed Johns Hopkins Hospital in my home state of Maryland. So, I'm really happy about this next story. It's going to paint him in a great light. So, Dr. Ben Carson was a supporter of Donald Trump. And when President-elect Trump's, his cabinet appointees was leaked, a possible list of them, Dr. Carson had his name under both Secretary of Education and Secretary of Health and Human Services. They both would have been great appointments. Let's give him a chance. But a few days ago, his longtime advisor, Armstrong Williams, said, Dr. Carson feels he has no government experience, he's never run a federal agency, the last thing he would want to do is take a position that could cripple the presidency. He led at one point in the race for presidency, nomination in the Republican Party. Also, please, for the love of God, save me with the whole liberal media is lying. And Dr. Carson said that his real reason for not serving was to be a strong ally outside the White House. And honestly, that would have been a fine reason if the liberal media actually made that up. But no, they didn't. Armstrong William is a family friend of the Carsons for over 25 years and was one of his top advisors, if not the top, in his campaign. And he told The Hill that quote that I just read you, actually out of his mouth. But after Carson qualified, Williams qualified. And he had this nugget in the article. I have no doubt that Dr. Carson would have met and exceeded any challenge set before him and done a fantastic job. However, it's important to keep in mind that you can hire management, but not vision. It's a unique attribute that people either possess or not. Okay, well, that's fantastic. I must tell you, my humble viewers, again, can't thank you enough for the views, that I do my research for this show. And along my research, I binged. Nobody uses Google anymore, guys. Okay, bing it. And I searched for Ben Carson Clarifies to find that Facebook post. But nothing came up at the time with any articles. But they did come up with a bunch of articles, things after things after things, showing him things he has had to clarify. So strap in. This gets really good. Okay, Carson clarifies Muslim remarks is the headline. I won't support anyone who wants a theocracy. He said that after saying he would not advocate that we put Muslims in charge of this nation via Mediaite in September 21st, 2015. So, had to clarify that he, I'm not really saying Muslims, it's just they're Muslim. Turn to the Huffington Post, November 5th of last year. He clarifies that he tried to stab a close relative after saying claims that there were claims that he tried to stab someone as youth, and people were saying it wasn't true. So he's like, no, I stabbed a relative. I hit his belt buckle. This is real, folks. The 6th of January of this year turned, in the Christian Post, he said he clarifies his views on hell and rapture and called the Washington Post story that said he doesn't believe in hell total garbage. So, great clarification there. Sorry to push you. And that Washington Post article was probably garbage in itself, but the point is it's interesting. Another headline, Carson clarifies controversial gun control comments. This is October 7th, 2015. He had to defend the quote that he said, I would ask everyone to attack the gunman because he can only shoot one of us at a time. That way we don't all wind up dead. Then he laughed. Said, I'm laughing at their silliness, actually. This was CBS News and multiple other outlets. He had originally said that rush the gunman quote when he was talking about, I believe it was one, I don't even remember the shooting, to be honest. There's so many freaking shootings, unfortunately. But he was saying, I would rush the gunman, and everyone would rush the gunman, and that's how we would be safe. And then he laughed, and it was weird. Again, I don't think he was actually laughing at people's suffering, but I do think it's super weird, Dr. Carson. You probably shouldn't do that. But this is my favorite headline. It's from Newsmax, June 6, 2014, but widely reported. Title, Ben Carson clarifies Obamacare and 9/11 aren't comparable. Thanks. It goes on to say, the two things aren't comparable. I never intended to compare them. So why did Dr. Carson feel the need to say that? Come on down the rabbit hole, my friends. Because in 2014, same year, at the Values Voter Summit, he said, quote, the worst thing that has happened in this nation since slavery was Obamacare. And he went on to say that, in a way, it is slavery because it's making us subservient to the government. Okay. Then later that year, someone asked him, well, in that case, does that make Obamacare worse than 9/11, since it's worse than slavery? And he said, well, it does because it's an isolated incident. Okay, Dr. Carson, that's really terrible. When you search a politician's name and clarify, you're going to come up with a lot of things of clarifying comments because in this day and age, comments get taken and thrown out, and people just take whatever you say and try to twist it and turn it. But sometimes they take what you say literally. And that was with all of these comments. No one was trying to hurt Dr. Carson. They were just saying, he said it was worse than slavery. We should report that. And they did. So Dr. Carson, you earn 2 Pez, which is the lowest form of Pez because everybody knows you eat the whole pack at one time. Look, okay, my final word here is chance. I'm going to go a little off script here. Dave Chappelle, one of the best comedians of all time, hosted Saturday Night Live, did a wonderful monologue talking about the election and just in general. And he talked about the fact that everyone's saying to give him a chance. I've mentioned it in this episode. And he had a really poignant quote at the end. He ended, I'm going to give Donald Trump a chance. And referring to himself and African Americans, he said, we, the historically disenfranchised, demand that he give us one too. And that was very powerful. And I don't know if you can tell, I'm not one of the historically disenfranchised. And I've seen a lot of coverage in the media saying that these schools with safe spaces after the election and is ridiculous and making fun of people and then showing footage of white kids crying. I hear you. But college campuses are not just white. College campuses are very diverse. And some of those white people are upset because the people that they know and love are scared. And those safe spaces are really not always designed for the white privileged, but for the people of color who saw what Donald Trump said, who saw that we should ban Muslims, who saw that we should kick 11 million immigrants out of this country, who saw that we should bomb and attack family members of ISIS who have nothing to do with their activities. These war crimes, these hateful statements, they see these and they're upset. Let me be honest with you. Donald Trump said a lot of bad things. The thing I'll never understand that people didn't immediately just stand up and be disgusted at. Obviously, I mean, everything he said about people of color has been horrific. But he mocked a disabled reporter, and that's truth. And I know this isn't a super funny episode, and I'm sorry about that, but he's done those things, and he says he doesn't, and he said he wasn't mocking him, but he did. I'm not going to even imitate him because it's upsetting. He's a bad guy. That's why people are upset. I didn't agree with John McCain on most policies. I didn't agree with Mitt Romney on most policies, but I wouldn't have cried had they won. I wouldn't have feared for the stabilization of our country because they're human beings. Donald Trump is not a human being. He's a monster. And I promise next week this show will be funnier. It will be shorter and it'll have more punch to it. But to be honest with you, chance? I'll give him a chance on policies that are trade or infrastructure, but bigoted, racist policies? No. Dave Chappelle and all people of color demand that he give them a chance. And from Donald Trump's appointments, it doesn't look like he's going to. So we'll see. This has been 3 more words. And I'm sorry this hasn't been super hilarious at the end, which is why I'll end it by downing the rock. There's no more Pez! Life is terrible. 3 more words is over. Thank you for watching. I want to eat more Pez.